Hello everyone, and welcome. Happy Friday to you. It's been an active week. It's been a demanding week, but now I get the chance to hang out with folks in chat, including getting to catch up with an old friend. I've known him for a long time, but I haven't gotten to see him or even talk to him since before 2019, I think. Please welcome the Mummified Tony.
Yo, 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 what is up, guys and folks? Everybody hanging out in Streamland.
In Streamland, that's a good way to put it. Hello in TV land.
What up, chat?
Let's see here. And we have some shout-outs to people who joined us. Also, apologies, folks. YouTube pulled a switcheroo and didn't list this publicly at first. So, if you were worried that I wasn't going to stream, sorry for the confusion. But I see Trinary and Gojaline 91, Enderpup and Jude 3300, Commodra Steel, who will be having a birthday very soon. Let's see here, Koji. You're going to be turning 28 in how many days? Let's see here. Oh, in 4 days. 4 days from now. So, happy birthday in advance. Also, I see a Champ to Stay, a Little Heart Raccoon, a Prince Apollo, and the Miner. Creative Burst, and let's see here. Alexandria Paper, hello. Oh, and of course, lost the chat there for a sec. And of course, Nomo Ruiz Gallardo. And over on Twitch, we have Helsing Ghost, Rosefire, and Steph EXE, hey. Welcome one and all. Thank you for joining. So, I hope everyone's doing well after, well, the last full week of July. Tony, has July felt different at all for you this year?
Compared to last year, it's a lot more active and public. I can tell you that right now.
Indeed, it is. It's been nuts a bushel, I swear. Well, in a good way. I mean, being more active and social. I'm glad to connect with people again. Oh, get to go to Everfree soon.
Yeah. For those who feel, comfortable going out and about at this point, it's a good thing.
Very good thing. Oh, Clay Pigeon, sorry I'm not timing this well with the break, but we'll be here when you get back. But yes, be working, be diligent. Let's see here. I'm seeing some other folks in the chat. Evangelion 007, Katrina Raptis, Inquisitor 751. Malphite, are you familiar with Games Workshop and like their Warhammer stuff?
Oh, baby. Let me go off real quick. Let me tell you all about my super special space Egyptian warriors, my Pew Pew Necrons. Man, oof. I love me some 40K.
Oh, so you're a fan of the dynasties that just ruin everyone else's day. I mean, let's.
Hey, we're not ruining everybody else's day. We were here first. We are the oldest of the living beings in the universe. All right, you all are messing with our day. Okay.
oh! You're the oldest. You know that why? Because everyone who was older, you killed.
Hey, history is written by the victors, okay?
We're getting into classic philosophy already. The conflict of the ages, yes.
Yes, of course.
So yes, I too am familiar with the Necrons, but something Inquisitor said, TTS is dead. I don't know what TTS...
Tabletop Simulator?
Why would that go down?
I'm not as up on everything, I mean, if what they're talking about, Tabletop Simulator, the Steam application might be dead. I mean, it doesn't sound like it. I mean, sure, it might be for you, but I mean, I loaded it up last week and it ran perfectly fine for me.
Oh, okay, that's good. I've only gotten to play poker as part of a BabsCon charity. I lost. I was the first one out. Although I appreciate the audience like bought me in several times over. So I was like, oh man,
Nice.
yeah, I'm glad I don't have a gambling habit, or you all would be enforcing me. Yeah, I'm dark.
Good stuff.
Very good stuff. Well, oh no. Oh no. Text to speech? Oh, I love that show. Oh, well, Little Heart, good seeing you. Thanks for swinging by. Oh, but no, everyone's saying in the chat that if it's the Emperor's text to speech device. Oh, did Games Workshop pull the C&D on them? Oh, that... I still need to know what happens to Lord Vulcan. On that day, Ben and I became the best of friends.
There's a lot of people that just dive hard into the whole lore and whatnot on 40K, and I'm like, I get it like a sprinkling of what it actually does and how things came about. And I'm like, yeah, Horus and the heresy and the emperor, and he died. He's in a coma. I'm like, yeah, I kind of get it. And there's a dragon somewhere that might wake up. You know, I'm hip. I know what's going on.
I know what all the cool kids are talking about. I'm hip and jiggy with it, yo. Ducka, 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 ducka.
I was hip and cool once, and then what I was down with wasn't cool anymore. It happened to me, and it'll happen to you.
No way, man. We're gonna keep rocking forever, forever, forever. Oh, but well, now I gotta go check on the text-to-speech device because yeah, it makes me sad. It makes me sad, everybody. Oh, boy. But, Rustic Rails, glad you could make it. And Hugo5863, yes, I'm pleased that even with my misleading visibility, folks are still joining us. Marvelous. Okay. Well, folks, you may be wondering, why am I not drawing anything? Part of the reason I got to know Mummified was that he is the host of a program that reviews people's OC designs, though it has the deceptive moniker of Your OC Sucks. And I think I can say that on the stream. Actually?
It's supposed to be like, super... sort of like, wait, what? Hold on, what's going on here? Sort of catchy in a, deceptive way.
Oh, okay, here we go. Your OC sucks. Was that better?
Sure. That's a great way of, like, lessening the burden, being able to be like, yes, ooh.
Oh, so there you go. Well, I thought it'd be interesting. Also, I put out a video yesterday, but you guys only get to see the one day of work on it. There's the actual prep, which took many hours and long nights. I'm so old and cranky, and now you should feel bad for me. What I'm thinking is that instead of just diving right back into stuff, let's follow up on talking about characters. And to that end, I've pulled up an image of the main cast and of the new main cast, and we're going to critique them. Now, I should put forth that if you're trying very hard to avoid spoilers, one, I'm sorry, you shouldn't be on the internet. I mean, that's unfortunately a fact of life. But we will be talking about the character designs and stuff we heard, so if you want to bow out on this, I understand. But one, I hope folks will stick around because, well, I'm curious to know what people think. I'd love to hear people's thoughts in the comments as we do this. I'd love to just see the chat sound off on what they like about a character, what they dislike, which admittedly will help me when I do a full video talking about their visuals. So Mummified. we are technically talking about OCs, but since they're in their own story, they're less original characters and more just characters.
Yeah, they're not sort of like inspired by a already existing thing that you technically don't have rights to. I mean, it's the show. It's full on actual characters, so it's not like you're trying to take what is there and inspire your own designs. It's more of this is the man. This is the establishment making their things, you know? I don't know how to put that, but yeah, you get it.
Oh, the establishment. Join us as we rage against the municipality.
Sorry, I've just been spending way too much time with my hard political friends, and they're like rubbing off on me.
Oh, goodness. Hard politics. Goodness knows you have nothing to talk about there.
No. And I would hate to divide your audience or start a war here on such a lighthearted topic such as ponies.
Well, it can be lighthearted when people wish. It could also be pretty hardcore. We could be just totally destructive. But here we go. Let's start things off by bringing our main character into the spotlight. As I enlarge, yes, I worked total hours on this. Yeah, sure. No. If everyone sees a screenshot, they'll just say, Silver-Quill's copying. So, this is Sunny Star Scout. Main character. The toys have honestly revealed more for her than any trailers so far.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny, it's funny that for a lot of people, when they saw her, she wondered if this character was modeled after the, I believe it's lesbian pride flag. And I had the opportunity to talk to the designer of G5, Imulu. And no, this was apparently a color scheme based on warmth and brightness and acceptance. So honestly, I would say it's the same idea expressed in color theory. So she's not excluding anything, but also it was more just based on warmth and reception.
Mm-hmm.
So an interesting distinction, but it works in both scenarios.
Yeah, I'm definitely. There's going to be a kind of a overall theme for I feel like a lot of these characters is that I feel like there's not a lot to complain about with some of these. There might be like small nitpicks that you can make or a weird differences between Generation 4 and 5, but it feels all right. I mean, I haven't been following or keeping up with a lot of videos about how they act or how they present themselves, but from strictly an aesthetic point, I'm like, yeah, okay, I can follow this.
Well, truth be told, there isn't much to talk about how they act because we haven't gotten that much information yet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, I modified this off a background. I'm seeing all these floating cutie marks. It's a little spooky. Spooky-ooky. But I will say the biggest thing that stands out to me for all the G5 characters, all of them, is the fact that they all have fetlocks and hard hooves. It's probably the biggest stylized change.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it used to be the realm of, it was a stallion's only thing, and only if they were big, strong, like Big Macintosh and Shining Armor, when he wasn't being captured. Again. So now fetlocks are the in thing.
Well, I mean, it's like how bell bottoms were super big back in like high schools of generations before. Bell bottoms got to come back around again, maybe in the next generation. It's all circle. It's what was old is now new again. It's sort of a trend thing.
Indeed, it's like fashion is cyclical. Everything is cyclical. We'll come back around and mullets will be back in style. No, wait, mullets were never in style.
Ugh. Squares are cyclical.
Cyclical.
But no, What I like about the fact that these particular characters have is that, like you said, it was a thing back in the old style that very few actual ponies had fetlocks, but all these characters that I'm seeing here, doing Google searches and whatnot, I'm seeing that they all have it because I feel like there's a medium that changed. It was the old style was very vector art, a realm that I was exposed to and was actually I've developed my skills fairly well in the realm of vectors. But then now it's graduating into more of a 3D space and how we can use computer generated blender magic and whatnot to get a much more finer detail on some of these characters. So the fact that we're able to have a much more granular fine detail with hair physics on this, they look a lot more fuzzy and plush in the rest of the body, while also being able to have a little bit more noted hair or finer details around the hooves and the manes.
It is. I mean, you can just going from this image I grabbed, you can make out the individual strands on her mane and tail, and I see what you mean about sort of a fuzzier texture and genuine. Well, I guess it would be a coat around the hooves.
Yeah, as in typical horses, how you would have that little bit of extra hair around the bottom. It might fall away off the hoof a little bit. Having flashbacks to one of my exes who was an equestrian, trying to remember what her horses looked like. And yeah, I mean, there's always going to be a little bit of extra floof around the hooves itself. I mean, it's not going to be the big giant boots like on a Clydesdale, but this looks a little bit more natural, quote unquote, as a bright Technicolor horse can look. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. Although I also wonder if that's going to, how to put it, it's going to throw people off. There were times I would forget that the ponies had coats, and then they like lose a patch. You can see the pink skin underneath. It's like, oh yeah, I forget. I find with some artwork I don't like too much texturing. So I'm wondering how will people be thrown off by this level of detail.
I think for people who are sort of set in the idea of what G4 was of ponies versus in the first couple of minutes of, or maybe the first viewing of the new show, the new videos that we see, it may be a little bit jarring to begin with, but I feel like all the not preconceptions, but the sort of familiarity that we all had with a previous generation will fall away, and we'll be able to sort of accept these, not accept, but you won't notice it as much as the video goes along. Kind of like if you're watching a movie in a theater or at home and you're getting really into it, the world around the screen sort of falls away.
I get you. We just got to give it a chance, basically.
Yeah, in not so many words, yeah. Give it a chance, give it a sec to do it. And I'm not saying I'm not being accusatory when I say give it a chance. Just, I'm sure that as, you watch it, it's like, oh, okay, you get used to these characters and sort of the feelings, and I don't know, you just sort of fall into, okay, this is the new norm sort of thing.
Makes sense to me. I'm just scanning through the chat real quick to see what folks are saying. Renamon566, what if Sunny is Scootaloo's great-great-great-granddaughter? That would be fascinating. Although Trinary points out he'd prefer that the new characters not be descendants of the originals. Plus, I guess it goes back and forth. I mean, like I said, so much of our fiction seems to go with the Bloodlines idea. Star Wars, everybody's interconnected somehow.
Yeah. Um, that's a whole new bucket of worms that we could go into. Um, I'm not 100% about the idea that it's like, okay, yeah, she's the kid of something else. I do like the idea of whenever a storyline sort of follows somebody else from some other story that isn't directly connected. I do like the fact that, on her purse, pouch, satchel thing, she does have a Twilight Fluttershy Rainbow Dash buttons on them. So that does, show that she does know who these people are, what's going on with it and everything like that.
Plus, because she has Twilight and Fluttershy, she knows at least 2 or 3 best ponies. She and I are simpatico.
Exactly.
Now, if there were an Applejack pin up there, then we'd be set.
Yeah. Too bad that we wouldn't be really set. I mean, there's no best pony on there, which is Rarity. Sorry, bud.
No, Rarity is in the saddle. It's clearly one of her designs. Look at that efficiency and style.
Exactly.
Yes,
it's the theory, it's the ambiance of accessorizing oneself.
That's right. It's fabulous, darling. Yes, you're absolutely gorgeous.
Magnificent.
And I really don't know much to say about her cutie mark just yet. I'm just curious what's going to happen. Oh, there's one other thing. The gradient along her legs, going from the orange to cream to almost white. I don't know. I've had a chance to try drawing some duotone ponies, especially Sunburst, and it's never simple. I have no idea how DHX pulled it off in Flash. I'm curious to see what they can do with duotone coats now.
Oh. From what I remember of, making vectors and whatnot, of close to show accuracy as I could be in sort of puppetry, animation and whatnot, I can imagine how it was. I never got to make a puppet for anybody who had a gradient hoof at the end or anything like that. But I can imagine that, it's perfect. It would be a little bit tricky just to tweak the vectors a little bit, but I think it could be easily done in vectors. And for DHX, I think making it a little bit different in their 3D models, definitely use it as a way of making a difference between these characters. How some of them do have a little bit of a gradient, some of them don't. Some of them have a very slight gradient to them. Some of them, are very apparent.
Yeah, I'm curious to see, but I like the addition, the option. It'll help make them even more distinct. For it's funny, we've invoked the best pony argument, which in the chat, Flamethrower FIM has said we've alerted the Horde. So when you're attempting a flame war and there's a person named Flamethrower in the chat, 2 and 2.
Yeah.
But I always kind of laugh at DWK's observation that basically since most of the horses had the same body shape, we were just arguing over eyes and mane styles. It's like,
yeah.
So now there might actually be a little bit more diversity to it.
That's something that I really noticed with back when I was doing the podcast URC Sucks, was the fact that when people were making show style OCs and presenting that art on their DeviantArt and submitting us show accurate characters, it was a very hard thing to sit there and differentiate between the two. Being able to, well, not differentiate, but sort of draw more expression and feeling from the character compared to if it was more a artistic liberty with the character, sort of showing off the artist's style when it comes to making these characters and whatnot.
Yeah, there we go. And I have great praise for the styling of these characters. I enjoy it. I know folks are concerned about the shape of the eyes. I think the smiles.
I don't know what they're talking about.
Oh, sorry. You don't know what I'm talking about?
Oh, sorry. No. To your point, I was about to be like, yeah, I don't know what they're talking about either. I think it's fine. But go on. I shouldn't have interrupted. By
No,
all means.
it's all good. I want to make sure I'm not leaving people behind here. Uh, I think the biggest critique I've had are things like the smile, because one, it's much more detailed. But I think a frozen image on something that's meant to be fully animated does look off-putting. And Sunny here, definitely I've known from the screenshots, she and in pitches, she is a character of perpetual motion. Always see her moving. So I can understand why you might feel like she's staring into your soul right now. So, before I need to prep the next character, but while I do that, we have some questions from the audience, especially for yourself, Tony.
Yo, yo.
So, first question is time-honored. Have you any experience with Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends?
Not recently. I think the last time I actually watched Thomas was maybe when I was like 5 or 6. One of those super old sick day, just watching whatever is on PBS kind of thing. Somewhere between Puzzle Place, I Love Lucy, Wheel of Fortune. No, not Wheel of Fortune. Price is Right. There, Thomas and Friends was somewhere in that combination. But that's old, like elementary school sick day kind of stuff.
Oh, I shudder a little when you say sick day, because I know what you mean. You're just home, you're feeling like crud. You can't even enjoy the fact that you're home from school. It's the worst.
Yeah.
Absolute worst.
Yeah. Just remember, or maybe it was a snow day or something as well. Growing up in the Osseo school district.
Huh.
Yeah, I remember, yeah, trains, and they spun around and they did things, and it was all kind of stop motion and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Well, now it's CG, apparently. Everything is CG.
I know my nieces and nephews were getting down with Dino something. It was a bunch of dinosaurs that I think were trains and construction equipment and whatnot. And I knew that was something going around.
I think I know what you're talking about. Gosh, what was it called? Build It Up. Like, one of them is part. Wait, is it Dinosaur Train?
Is it? Maybe. Sounds actually kind of right.
Huh. Yeah, it's probably Dinosaur Train, but I also know that there was some sort of construction themed. It had a really catchy theme, but I only know because I heard it in a Toys R Us. Well, let's see here. Second question. Why are you mummified?
The origin of the name Mummified kind of goes all the way back to, I want to say, elementary school, 6th grade.
Ooh.
So years and years ago, my brother was making an email for me or something, and I can't remember why I needed an email. I think it was to play on Post Kellogg's website and play the games and whatnot. Something about having to make my own account or something like that. And I needed an email. So my brother was helping me make one, and he was like, all right, what do you want to call it? And I was like, oh, well, I don't know. And my brother was like, well, just pick anything. So I think at the time in my elementary school days, I was in the middle of a Egypt, course or something, learning about Egypt and being all right, now we're going to make little paper cutout sarcophaguses and whatnot. And at the time, was it that? It was something like that, where it was like, okay, mummified, but it was spelt wrong because I was young and I didn't know any better. So it was just Mummified. And then it was Bulldogs because my junior high, the mascot was Bulldogs. And then it was Patriots because I moved to another school where the mascot was the Patriots. Then it was Mummified Mustangs because my high school was Mustangs. And then finally it was Mummified Thunderbirds, eventually getting almost correct to a Mummified. Spelling was not my strong suit this entire time. It wasn't only until like my second year of college that I was like, oh wait, it's Ified in Mummified, and eventually became Mummified Thunderbirds for my college that I was going to. Their mascot was Thunderbirds, and then eventually I'm like, it's been like 8 years since I've taken a class, so I might as well just switch it over to Mummified Tony, and that's a whole lot shorter than having to spell out Thunderbirds. So.
Indeed, but remember, Thunderbirds are go.
Yes, Anybody? They are indeed go. Yes, I've been informed of that fact.
Right, and do not pass go. I'm just throwing things out there right now. Go Power Rangers.
It's my $20.
Well, that's fascinating. I'm impressed at how you kept the thing going through your a good chunk of your life.
Yeah, it's honestly one of those things that, it's like, okay, I've already got this thing and it's already sort of an idea, and it sort of moved from like Hotmails to Live to Yahoos and then finally Gmails. It's sort of one of those things that you got to reset everything every once in a while. So the fact that I've always kept the nomenclature like mummified on everything sort of helps people track, and not track like, oh, they're watching me sort of thing, but sort of follow me along through the process of, I'm trying to think. I do know a couple of people I used to play video games with back in high school that probably do remember when my online were Mummified Mustangs. So that was back in like old Xbox 360 playing Halo days, where it was like, oh yeah, it's Mummified. Hey man, what's going on? It's like, hey, what's up? Just got back from school. You ready to do this? Yeah, man, let's go, kind of thing.
I just got back from school and boy, are my arms tired. Alrighty. Well, I've not done a very good job of keying out the white background to this image. I couldn't find a transparent background. But let us tackle our second pony. Once I get these darn guides out there. There we go. So Izzy Moonbow, the solo unicorn of this show thus far. And let's see. Let's start with just overall colors. A light violet with a blue mane. What are your thoughts on these colors?
I think the colors are great. I think people who were fans of the old show the old show Eurocy Sucks might remember a bit that we used to have where Smooth Sailing would always be all about blue and purple, and it's honestly probably one of the best color palettes you can probably make on a pony is an aesthetic of blue and purple. It's just a nice soft lavender color, and the wavy blueness of the hair, not necessarily just in shape, but the tones and highlights and lowlights in the blue itself give it a great three-dimensional feel to it.
It does, although I admit, having seen bits and pieces where Izzy possesses this great energy, she's bouncing all over the place, waving and giggling. She's very expressive. I'm kind of surprised that she then involves a cooler color scheme, which is something I would. Well, okay, I don't want to be unfair and call her just the new Pinkie Pie. She's going to be, I hope, her own character. But I do tend to associate warmer colors with high energy characters.
Very interesting.
So I am unsure. I have noticed one other thing. Maybe, although how do I express this? There are three elements I see right here, which ironically are forming a bit of a triangle on their own. You've got the horn, which is white. And this is a story supposedly set in a place where magic has disappeared. So, could that be a reflection of that loss? Then
The fact that there's an absence of color in the horn.
and that perhaps at some points in the movie, in the show, whenever, color may come flooding back into that.
Mm-hmm.
Second is her cutie mark is, well, hearts are a big thing, but it's basically a pincushion. So it's not, surprised it's not shaped like Spike. But,
yeah.
but I've noticed in the trailers for Izzy, well, for the characters in general, she's often giving a big ta-da, or everyone's giving a big reaction, which suggests to me that while people may draw a Pinkie Pie comparison from the physicality, I think she's also creative, which means there's a little bit of a rarity expressionism mixed in there, which is further evidenced by the bracelet on one hoof.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you from making OC poses for for video reviews or what have you, whenever the person is asymmetrical because they have like a band or something on one leg, I cannot accept just flipping the image and having it magically teleport to the other leg. I'm too obsessed about this. So again, this might be props for a CG based show. We can actually do that and not have to contend with that so badly. Perhaps
that's something that a lot of people would rag on a little bit for the old generation when we were working in a 2D medium, was that hairstyles and whatnot, when flipping from one side to the other, always seem to, mirror itself randomly. Rarity's in one scene would have her hair flipping over and curling over on her, like, let's say right side of her head, and then she would turn around, the scene would flip, or the scene would change or go to the next camera shot, and suddenly it's like, okay, well, we can't just have the hair be on the other side, covering her face throughout this entire thing, though it would be much easier to lip sync. They would flip it over and make it, all of a sudden show up on the other side. Or maybe they just didn't do it that much, but I remember it would go back and forth from a lot of different scenes. So the fact that in a lot of the things that I've been seeing so far, the bracelet is always on her Izzy's left hoof. So it's like, okay, will this be a continuity that is always going to be carrying over and changing, or not changing, but staying constant throughout? That is a good point, if they're going to stick with that or not.
Oh, did someone say continuity?
Yeah, I did say that, didn't I?
All right, but not sure what more I can comment on beyond what we've seen. I do know from talking with Imalu, purple eyes are best eyes.
For sure.
Vibrant.
I can agree with that.
In fact, I appreciate, even though it's a cooler color palette, the intensity of her eyes really does shine out against the lighter coat.
Yeah. I feel like having... actually, I'm not 100% sure now. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I just don't think I can add any more details or opinions on top of that.
Well, now you see, I might be seeing just a little plaque buildup in the right back molar there. Maybe she's not so good at brushing.
For sure. I mean, yes, the dental hygiene is important for all creatures of this magical realm, not just humans and dragons and whatnot, but ponies as well. They really need to make sure they are brushing heavily throughout, with also a mouthwash.
Keep fresh. Although that suddenly raises a question for me. If unicorns don't have the power of levitation anymore, how would you hold a toothbrush?
It's the first thing first thing that pops into my head is sort of a wall mounted situation where you kind of just have it stuck to the wall and you sort of just move your head back and forth. And I imagine you got to get the job done very quickly before your neck goes stiff or cramps.
It's very true. Although a part of me is instantly worried about you'll poke out an eye on your toothbrush. I mean, that's just who wants to go to the hospital saying, "Yeah, I got a black eye from my toothbrush"? What were you doing?
I was just so vigorously preventing against plaque.
One sec, Tony. I'm getting just a little static on your line. I'm just messing with audio levels here for a sec to see if I can get the darn soundboard to shake it out. I'd hoped that if I changed the USB port, that would magically fix things, but no. I still have to futz with this some more.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho, but I think that's a good talk on Izzy and her prospective design. I don't know if it's prospective, it's official now. Let's see here. There was a comment earlier from to Pig Boss. Yes. Oh, we forgot to mention Izzy is the originator of the first meme for G5 in the tennis ball. Applause for the tennis ball. So, Tony, can I get let's see if your line's behaving itself.
Oh, you need me to do some sound checks? Peter Piper picked a pickle. Peter Piper picked a perfect pickled pepper. Peter Piper picked a perfect pickled pepper. Some mouth noises. Anything?
That sounds pretty good to me. I know this.
I don't know why I just went through my vocal warm-ups for that, but you know.
Hey, I think you got it. I think you got a solid warm up there.
2 ponies in. It's like, yeah, why not get ready for this? Let's drink some hot lemon and honey tea, and shake it out. Do some enunciation techniques to help thread the mouth.
And yes,
I have a list of. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, you have a list.
I have a list of exercises and warm-ups that I do before a recording or a script read that I have to do. I'm always like, all right, do the enunciation, 1 to 20 stretches, a couple of Peter Pipers, a couple of woodchucks, and then, lip vibration thingies, the little things. I've been researching a lot into that.
That makes sense. I completely forgot to mention this as I'm remembering high school. One, I'm insanely jealous that you got to do paper craft sarcophagi.
It's nothing special. It's like if I remember correctly, it was like the teacher printed out all these 8.5 by 11 things, and they had a sort of sarcophagus coffin looking thing, and you could write whatever or you could color it however you wanted, and then there were lines in the middle of it that you could use hieroglyphs to like spell out whatever you wanted, and you had to like draw them in. It was only like little two or 3 page things, and then on the inside it was write a paragraph about something. I can't remember what I wrote about, but it was just one of these little tiny arts and craft things that you do in elementary school.
I don't remember getting to do anything like that. I don't know. Maybe I was just a little outside of the time for that. I mean, truth be told, when I compare notes on schools with my friends, I'm like, oh yeah, I got to do a science fiction writing course. Like, what? Well, my teacher said sci-fi was too easy, so we weren't allowed to do it. Which is, by the way, a huge lie. So, sorry, I'm flashing on my so-called education.
Yeah, I mean, everything I remember was pretty bog standard from like what my friends explained about their early education, other than the fact that they skipped my year for DARE, because my brother went through the DARE program, my sister went through the DARE program, but for some odd reason they decided my year they wouldn't. And then the next year I saw a kid walking by with a DARE shirt on. I'm like, I don't get to do the same thing my brother and sister did.
All right. So sometimes the topic doesn't matter. It's the exclusivity of it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's like, no, my brother and sister did this. Don't, take this away from me.
Yeah. It's a dominance thing. I'm asserting my self of independence.
Yeah, exactly. But then when I was 14, I moved from Minneapolis to Phoenix. So after that, it was like, nope, this is all my territory. This is all brand new stuff that I get to experience.
There you go. Now, we have some more questions from the audience for you.
Yeah.
Let's see here. One, have you ever read the book Agents of Smile?
Agents of Smile. Okay, that's what it's called. All right, so I'm not gonna lie. I was Googling Smile, the acronym on things, and I'm like, Smile Direct Club? I don't know.
So you saw the question.
No. I saw the question and I'm like, I don't know what that is. So now that I know that a little bit more context behind it, Agents of Smile. No, I don't believe Agents of Smile has ever come across my bow.
Well, it's a My Little Pony book, obviously aimed at a younger reading audience, but it details the adventures of Lyra and Sweetie Drops as they are secret agents within Equestria.
Mm-hmm.
So dealing with the changeling menace, which means that it's a pretty limited window there. We're all supposed to be getting along. Actually, I've always kind of wondered that. How did Sweetie Drops react when suddenly changelings weren't a menace? I mean, it's one thing when, like, everyone says, oh, we're all friends now, but then there are folks whose job it was to consider this threat. How are they handling that?
I gotta believe that it's if they are agents of a secret task force, it's more of the same of like, all right, here's our mission, go figure out things, go spy, go find out whatever the heck is going on, and then it's like, great, this is the information I have. All right, stop doing that, now go do something else. And it's like, all right, well, we're done dealing with this. Okay. It's kind of like how I'm trying to think of something political. Let's go with something super, super old. All right, so spies against old German forces might be investigating Germany and trying to steal secrets, and then it's like, oh, war is over, go home. It's like, all right, well, we're done spying on Germany, let's go off and get ready for the Cold War or something. I gotta imagine it's more of just all right, target's done, don't have to worry about these folks anymore, move on.
I don't know. I mean, pardon me, I'm probably going to sound a little cynical, but like, I'm sure there are people who said, no, keep spying on the Germans, let's make sure, and keep an eye on this group, that group. Honestly, now I'm having an image of some pony dressed up in a somewhat convincing but still shoddy changeling outfit, just walking around, greetings, fellow changeling. How's it hanging, yo?
Awesome, das.
Like you other changelings, I too drink emotions from a tube. That very shoddy.
Just like, I'm just imagining like Pony in a bad changeling costume, speaking perfect common or English or whatever they want to say that they speak in universe, and then like a changeling is just sitting there like fluent German, being like, "What is this? What? No, who are you?
Oh,
are you a spy?"
Enderpup's got the right idea. Paper mask from TF2.
Yes. Yes. Heartwarming.
One other question that came earlier from Katrina Reptis.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a Transformers fan?
I used to. I kind of fell away after Beast Wars. I was following Beast Wars for like the longest time, and then there was a Beast Wars Cybertron series that I think I wasn't catching the weekly after school broadcast, so I kind of fell out of that. And then I still actually have my Optimus third form Beast Wars character, dude.
Oh yes,
I have
Optimal Optimus.
Optimal Optimus. I think I still have two of the clear rockets that came with it, all the working pieces except for I think I lost two of the little rockets you stick in the thing and then it goes ping and shoots out. I have the second form of the Widow character, the Spider Widow scientist lady. Her second form. I used to have a rat trap. I can't remember what happened to that. I think I gave it to my cousins and they have it. And I think I had like maybe one or two off random what do you call it? Random like whatever Transformers that kind of might have been like a Happy Meal thing. But other than just catching the first three Transformer movies, I haven't really been following it that much. What have I been doing with that? I think I saw something involving like a new series on Netflix or something. I might have been babysitting my nephews and they might have had it on and I probably caught something. But
No,
yeah.
no worries. I will say, as a slightly embittered '80s fan, you aren't missing anything with the Michael Bay movies.
Oh God, no. Oh yeah, no.
Steer clear.
They're atrocious.
Oh, steer clear. It's funny. I just wrapped up. I just watched the end of War for Cybertron Kingdom. It features the Beast Wars cast, but you ever seen a show that's trying too hard to be like its predecessor and trying to be different at the same time?
Yeah. It is War for Cybertron or whatever, the one that you just mentioned. Is that the show that came after Beast Wars?
Oh gosh, lots of things came after Beast Wars. I think there was a trilogy of anime, Armada, Energon, and Cybertron. Then, there was also the Japanese Robots in Disguise, or Car Robots, which became Robots in Disguise here. And boy, that had oh man, how do I phrase this? On top of the tragedy of 9/11, the show featured an episode that had a terrorist bomb in a car. That episode got one airing and was never seen or heard from again.
Huh.
So
that's almost as bad as the Porygon episode of Pokemon.
Oh, I know what you mean. I mean, it's just like, I totally understand why they did it and why they took it off air, but the fact that it's not even related, it's not intentional, it's not malicious, but I'm too raw for this. But then, so the Netflix stuff is the most recent edition, and it's I give it a resounding meh.
I feel about it like a lot of things. If it's not absolutely blowing away or really doing something to flip the content or the source material on its head, it's got to be what's the phrase that one vendor uses? Adaptive, reductive. I can't remember it, but there was a great thing that it's like, okay, are you just simply retelling the same story over again and not really doing anything? Are you just using the source material and not really going? It's like using the same story and not really doing anything with it. But then it's like, okay, are you using the source material and expanding upon it along the same direction, or are you taking the source material in a completely different direction? Like how The Mandalorian is taking sort of the idea of the Star Wars world and going in completely right turn, sort of the first season away from the Jedis and away from necessarily the Skywalker plot, I'm saying with air quotes, and doing its own thing versus A lot of what happens with reboots, how it's like, okay, oh, like in the New 52s, how it was like, okay, we're restarting the universe, but now we're just going to go essentially through the same plot points all over again, just a lot faster. And it's like, well, great. So you're not really doing anything different.
Yeah. It's like, why bother then?
Exactly.
Also, to Rosefire in the chat over on Twitch, have a wonderful night and a good rest. So, with that, I believe we are ready to talk about the third of the new lead 5. Let's see here. I forget her full name. Princess Pipp something. Something dark side. Oh, meanwhile, in the chat, yes, I've got to go watch Hamilton in the Good Place. Let me just have my Transformers for a minute. Okay, Princess Pipp Petals. So, let's see here. Buongiorno, Principessa. What can we say about this Pipp? Definitely the most feminine look. I know that sounds...
For sure. I really like the sort of tiara accessory she's got going on.
Not a full-on crown, but definitely stylistic and adds a certain regality.
Quite.
Right. And, you know, funny enough, this image perhaps highlights one of the other big things in G5 that I didn't mention. Eyebrows.
Oh, yeah.
I just find that kind of funny. Like, the ponies would have an eyebrow when they needed it in G4. Like Applejack's eyebrow raise, which was just the best ever.
Yeah.
But now everybody's getting in on the eyebrow situation.
I feel like that's actually something that is a great jump. I feel that if we continued on from where we were in a 2D medium into a 3D medium and not adding in this extra little detail, I believe the characters would feel a lot more, I don't want to say freakish, but like there wouldn't be something right about it. Either we would get a lot bigger eyes to compensate for the lack of space, bigger manes to sort of lower the forehead a little bit, but the use of eyebrows in this medium, in this presentation of these characters, I feel definitely does help round out the face a little bit more, help fill it in, so to speak.
It's an excellent point. In fact, I wonder if that gold band doesn't help bridge the space between mane and eyes. Does it draw the... If you look at it, do you feel like is the gold pulling your attention away from the face?
I don't think it's pulling my attention. I think it helps frame the face. Where we were looking with Sunny and Izzy, they had hair that sort of falls down from the hairline, sort of doesn't expose the hairline on the forehead as much. I think the tiara on Pipp helps give a buffer space, so to speak, for maybe an animation to make animation easier or not worry about certain things coming through as much. I think it helps definitely square the face more rather than, leave, I don't know, the leave it without, you know what I mean? It definitely, I feel, is having it there is good. It not being there would definitely be bad. I don't know how else to explain it, but the lack of its presence would definitely detract from the character design. Its inclusion definitely heightens it in not unspeakable, but like a non-tactile way of being able to be like, yes, this is exactly it. This is what it needs.
Interesting. And I like that you brought up the framing of the face, because I've drawn a little rectangle because there's one other thing, and this is actually something I recall with Celestia. Her mane is styled in such a way that one eye is mostly covered.
Mhm.
And while that changes with, certainly with the activity, I think, given that this is one of the earliest presentations, if eyes are the windows into the soul and all that, a half-covered face being really hints at a hidden side, a big X factor, so to speak. And the thing, I'll let y'all know right now, Pipp is probably the character I am most uncertain about. Because one, the only audio I've heard of her is blowing a kiss into a smartphone. Just give it a little mwah. So, no dialogue thus far, and whenever I see her with the group, she's often hanging towards the back, unless it's like one of those group hug photos. And even in her premiere, she's just sort of hovering there and checking her smartphone, because I think the very heavy implication is that while she might be literal royalty, she's also a pop media star. So there's the theme with her I've seen thus far is distance. She's always aloof. And now there's this emphasis of the hidden side, which, as you point out, is brought on by the square or the rectangular framing of half her face.
That's an interesting point. Maybe when she's off stage or when she's not in a presenting role, when she is just herself, maybe she is a little bit more not necessarily in the shadows, so to speak, but maybe the last one to enter a room, sort of a kind of hang back sort of character, the one that sort of doesn't rush into a situation. Maybe she is not from a stance of worry or readiness to jump into action, but just a maybe tag along, maybe a aloofness.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily something nefarious with like she's got a plan or ulterior motives, but maybe just in all the way she's been presented, maybe she's still feels like an outsider. Maybe I wouldn't know. That's all speculation off of what you've described about what you've seen and what I've seen about it. Maybe she is a little bit more reclusive in her personal life.
And that ties into some comments from the chat. Let's see here. Oh, also a good night to Goja Lion and Wolfie Star, who had to call it a day. So, yes, if Sweetie Bloom were here, she'd be telling you all, yes, get some sleep. Don't make her come over there. Oh, and Haley H18, welcome. We've been talking about G5 ponies and their designs. So, to share some of the chat's thoughts, Enderpup suspects that she's an introvert. And I gotta say, as an introvert myself who ends up in public speaking, if they explore that dynamic, I think she might become my favorite in that case. Keldo Studies. I don't know why I'm saying that. Keldo Studies. I've got a feeling she's going to be the social media star / Karen. Or she could be socially awkward, like Fluttershy. Let's see here. And Haley H18, I could see her as a pop star or some kind of celebrity. Artistically, the mane could be a sign of her hiding her true self, like Ra-Ra's veil. And Pokemon Fire Eevee notes that she's in a place of high value. She needs to look perfect, which leads into her cutie mark. Forgive me as I zoom in on a horse's patoot here. A mixture of a crown and a musical note by my eye. And while the musical section is round and at ease, the crown element is jagged. Oh,
Hmm.
everyone, just by hearing your observations, I'm seeing this character in a new light, and I haven't even seen the show yet.
Hmm. I'm I'm crossed on whether, or I'm torn between whether or not the it's a stylistic choice between the fact that it's like, yes, crowns are typically depicted being very pointy and angular in their design, and the more natural ways that um, a lot of music notes and symbols in music nomenclature happen to be very swoopy and curved. If that's just a byproduct of these two things being merged together, forming a sort of curved, spiky yin yang sort of situation. I feel I lean more towards that being the idea here of the that's the intent with the cutie mark, rather than subtle trying to produce a dual nature to her personality necessarily.
I get you. Probably once again, static is intruding. I'm just going to futz with
Mm-hmm.
buttons for a sec.
But
Futzin, futzin, futzin. Keep those futzin. Futzin means nothing bad. It's okay. Let's see. How are we sounding now?
I will gladly test my audio, and by testing I mean talking continuously until you tell me to stop.
Well, it's okay. For the moment, the static remains. It's so vexing. I don't understand why. What is it doing, or rather, what have I done to cause this? I do not know. You know what? I think I need to go to the
Simply
source.
being you.
Nope. I have that effect. I definitely have that destructive effect. I think I'm just going to have to contact road support and ask why the computer input gets all staticky from time to time.
I knew a guy who used to have that effect on electronic devices. It didn't matter what it was. It was like something in him was like negatively charged, that anything he touched on a regular basis, his phone, his car, whatever, would just break so quickly. He could buy something absolutely brand new and it would always break before the warranty's out.
That's cruel.
Yeah. It was like he had an aura or a curse set upon him by an evil witch.
An evil witch. She's evil. And I don't really have a follow-up to that. It's sort of like Billy and Mandy. Destroy us all! Destroy us all!
Destroy us all!
Let's see here. I'm doing some
Why do you
search.
hate me? Why won't you love me, Father? I wish you was dead. Stupid spider.
Was that in Billy and Mandy?
There was a courtroom scene where a spider believed that Billy was his father, and he was like, it was just a nice spider character. He was like, oh yeah, I'm just here. I'm hanging out. Hi, Dad. And then he'd wave at Billy, and Billy would be like, death. Ew, spiders are gross. And it's like, oh, poor spider. And he would just like hit him with brooms and whatnot.
That is darker than I remember, but this is called The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
Quite.
Why?
Indeed.
Man. But yeah, hearing that, I'm just like, wow. Dang, dude. Dang. All right, I confess, for our next pony, let's see, someone earlier posted that they liked her Pipp's fluffy wings. And indeed.
Yeah. That's something that I noticed as well. I have a picture of like all 5 of them up, so I'm able to like reference this with you. Mm-hmm. And there is a distinct stylish change between the 2 Pegasus that have been shown so far.
Yes, indeed. Oh, here we are. It was Magical Dude saying they like their fluffy wings. And yes, unlike the stock Pegasi, there's a much greater unique identity. Which is why I'm going to move Pipp off to the side for just a little bit because the next idea is an idea of contrasts. So keep her around for a sec. Let's see here. Helsing Ghost is reminding it was Jeff the Spider. So I'm going to have to rewatch that just to realize, wow, I hope you never procreate, Billy. Except, wait, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no, I just remembered there is one episode where Billy goes back in time and becomes the progenitor of the entire human race.
Yes. We are all Billy now.
No! This is horrifying beyond words.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I believe there's... yes. Result, Battleship Agincourt. Good to see you, and welcome. And Commodore Steele, welcome back. We're just talking ponies, but let me just scroll through the chat real quick. Want to make sure I didn't forget any questions. Rodan was sharing their OC information. Black mane, white coat Pegasus with white wings with black feathers at the ends. And his name is Noir Neo. That's an interesting idea. I'm kind of curious what the eye color would be in that situation.
I'm going to take a wild guess and say yellow.
I don't know. It may be golden, but yellow on white doesn't stand out very well.
Yeah, like, any sort of yellow family of colors. Your ambers, golds, tin, lemon, John Deere yellow.
Not John Deere yellow. That's almost as bad as getting a Dear John yellow.
Lemon sorbet. I'm trying to just think of like random colors they might put in a Crayola 64 pack.
Oh my god. Is it weird that I now want to meet a pony named Lemon Sorbet?
Yes, lemon. Dang it. Now I'm hungry again.
We're defeating ourselves.
No, well, later I'll be defeating myself. Ha!
Excellent.
But no, like with the black and white color aesthetic, it's all about execution, from what I remember of making ponies and OCs and whatnot. It's all about if you're able to aesthetically make it work. Obviously, what I harped on so many people back in the day for Euro C Sucks sort of giving constructive criticism was that as long as you're never using full pure colors, you're not cranking the saturation all the way to the top. Make sure your hue and balance is, or not hue and balance and saturation. If I remember correctly, I think I never brought my saturation past 90% and my balance was never past 75. I haven't drawn ponies in forever or created an OC in forever, so I can't quite remember. Just as long as you're not using pure 100% blacks and 100% whites, I think you should be fine. You should be able to still, in black tones and white tones, you should be able to still have enough room to show highlights and lowlights on those colors. You should be able to show that when the black parts of a character or the black parts of the character's palette are put into shadow, there is still a step further that they can fall into. And when the white parts are in bright sunshine, they're able to show the highlights without necessarily being pure whites. That's why, that's why with Juris, my OC character that you'll see on screen, I never used a pure white in the coat. I always had just a slight blue tint to it. And as a sort of a sort of a example of the difference between the a pure white and the code color itself. You might be able to see in the eye of the icon that Silver-Quill has on the screen for me, there is a little bit of white that you can see in the eye itself. So being able to show that as a difference.
Excellent. And funny enough, one that's an excellent advice and critique on color balance. I confess I love blue, and the first time I drew a Pony OC, I went for pure, unfiltered blue, and I could see when I would put it next to other characters, I could see it was an eyesore. So I adjusted. I kept the blue, but clutter step eased off. Got a little bit more pastel. Hey, yeah.
Exactly.
And then also the encouragement to consider an off-white actually conveniently brings us into Zipp Storm.
Perfect.
Who I bring up alongside Pipp as one, I'm pretty confident they're sisters. They both debuted on National Sibling Day, a point that the staff actually made a point to mention. But going to the unique look of Pipp's wings and the unique style of Zipp's wings, I get the sense these sisters are a study in contrasts. One, her mane coming down to cover part of her face, but very stylized and flowing. One whose hair is straight up. I've heard a few toothpaste comparisons. But it's full expression, full visibility to the world. I get the sense of holding nothing back.
Yeah, I agree. I was unaware that these two characters happen to be related in any way, sort of taking them in between piecemeal and sort of not keeping up with all of the details when it comes as it sort of trickles along, sort of waiting a lot of information to gather until I actually see the product itself. So learning that these two characters are actually directly related to each other actually raises some questions about how Pipp could have a wing style that is very fluffy and very realistic in its feather approach. I looked at her feathers, and it was like, yeah, I can see the down in this design, in the sort of fluffiness of these feathers, and it's sort of real world equivalent of it. While with Zipp, I feel that there is a sort of tradition. Tradition may not be the best word for it, but sort of tradition to the old ways we were drawing wings and whatnot when we were still in a two-dimensional medium with Gen 4. It's a lot closer to, I'm trying to think, Cadence had two different color feathers in her wings. I think there was like one other person that had multicolored feathers, but I can't put my finger on it right now. But in comparison to like Rainbow Dash, Fluttershy, and Twilight, all the different ponies that had wings, they were all the single tone to them. Or maybe, actually, wait, did Twilight slowly get a gradient? I can't remember now.
As far as I'm aware, Twilight never had a gradient to her wings. No, not even in her Celestia-like final appearance. As far as I'm aware, gosh, I'm even trying to remember if anyone else had a duotone wings besides Cadence. Flurry? Flurry Heart.
Yeah, Flurry Heart, I think, had one. I know that there was. I knew that there was just one more out there, and so yeah, that kind of tracks.
Okay, here we go. So once again, trying to encourage my soundboard to not allow static, because I don't like your wonderful thoughts being marred by any distraction.
Oh, please. My wonderful thoughts need all the marring they can get.
Oh, come now. You're being far too harsh on yourself. So let's see here. Let's see what. I mean, I can barely make out her cutie mark. Unfortunately, this was the only pose I could find of just her. But they didn't have like a super complex background. Her cutie mark is, as far as I can tell, a lightning bolt with a crown on top.
There's a dual nature or a dual theme between, or not dual theme, but a reoccurring theme between these two ponies, that there seems to be a crown on Zipp, as well as, like we talked about, a crown inside the music note for Pipp as well. So maybe that'll lend it something along the way to help clarify the relationship between these two, or the family dynamic.
And I admit, I'm still surprised that it's the Pegasi who are having the monarchy now, or at least the monarchy themes. I thought that was a unicorn appeal.
Well, if it's a world without magic and unicorns may not be as prevalent, it's hard to be in the minority while holding power, so to speak. It's sort of, how can you rise to power and have popular public opinion if the people who, or in this case the ponies, don't or aren't in the majority who agree with you or are able to share a camaraderie between you, so to speak?
So there's
so maybe that's why. So maybe it's a thing where there happens to be more Pegasus, or maybe there since there is a no, they're not limited in such a way as the Earth ponies would be. Maybe it is a thing where it's like, oh well, they can fly, so why not just put them in charge? Maybe.
Not sure. I mean, but Pegasi were based more on Roman, at least what looked like Roman society with their armor and architecture, in a very militant style. But then, I don't hear the phrase Roman princess used very often, but I believe that was a thing.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but oops. Okay, well, never mind. Yeah. So I don't believe princess and whatnot, Romans. I believe it. I mean, it's been a while since I've studied the subject, but Caesars and all that. I don't remember a lot of female-dominated things. That could be just a sign of the era, so to speak, sort of how we as a society have sort of progressed to allow things to happen along, I guess. I don't know.
As I recall, in Roman theater, even for female roles, men were the only ones allowed to play. So that was where I think the supposed humor perceived in cross-dressing, which is also changing in culture. But at the time, that was part of where that line of humor originated, I think. I'd have to do a little bit more research into that. Let's see here.
I haven't done any research into it either, so I wouldn't be able to say yes or no.
Now, Trinair corrects me that Pegasi were more Greco-Roman, fitting the origins of the Pegasi myth. Let's see here. Just looking through, trying to see, seeing what folks have to say. Blue Griffin prefers Zipp style of wing. And let's see here.
Same.
Venpie,
I agree.
Venpie notes something I noticed about Zipp's wings. They seem more like the wings of an eagle, while Pipp's wings are the wings of a swan or perhaps a dove. Maybe based on their personalities? Question mark.
Very true. The first thing that popped into my head was obviously a much more floral and presentation of a bird. Birds that would have a much more showy expression of themselves, sort of a your swans, well, more of peacocks and ostriches. I know I just said showiness, but the fluffy down nature of the feathers do sort of put an image of ostrich feathers and peacock tails to be a little bit more fluffy and have more of that down feel to them. Well, yes, I do agree wholeheartedly that zips feel like they're a lot more practical in their sense, sort of not so much in the artistic manner that that other birds might have. Zips are a much more utilitarian purpose to them, I guess. They have a purpose, so to speak, is what I'm just trying to say.
I get you. Yes, the one thing about Zip's opening reveal on that sibling day. Well, Pipp was floating in what looked like a castle, checking her smartphone. Zipp was in a rocky mountainside. I don't know if mountainsides come any other way, but with a sharp landing and a slow-mo rise, which really conveyed a sense of power and also control. Like she's very self-possessed, in control.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. They've also hinted that while Zipp is a fan of flying, she also has a scientific leaning. Just seeing what this look. It's funny how this look changes when you rotate it just slightly. Over here on the stream, it's now it looks more like she's just. It's funny. At that angle, looks like she's coming in for a landing, but she's a little flippant off center. Just by rotating, I feel like she looks a bit more at ease with the audience. Like, how's it going?
Like a buzzing the tower kind of flyby, sort of being like, hey, what's up? And just continues moving on ahead.
Excellent. Yes, that's perfect. Let's see here. To read some comments from folks, Evangelion 007. Zip's wings are awesome.
Nice.
Makes me wish Twilight had colored wings like that. She did for just a little bit in that Rainbow Road Trip special. I'd like to think she could put those on for special occasions. Let's see here. Keldo studies Zipp and Zug. Zug.
Zug.
Magical dude, Pipp is cuter than Zipp. Fight me?
Ah! I'll agree with them. Pipp is cuter.
Let's see here. And, Robert Berger. What if without magic they can't fly? What do you think they would do to fix that? Well, everything I've seen in the media thus far, even still images, suggest that they are still capable of flight. I won't try to apply real-world dynamics to the idea of a Pegasus. There's actually an anime, God's Design Committee. It's a design firm for creation, commissioned by God to make all the animals on Earth. One of them tries to promote Pegasus regularly because the horse was like his pinnacle achievement. He keeps trying to one-up that. But they note that in order to actually have a flying horse, they need to be malnourished, constantly eating and defecating, and muscled to the point where even He-Man would say, wow, you're ripped.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like a lot of these characters with just this basic design. Like we were looking back at G4, I remember an argument somewhere that's like, yeah, if the eyes and the size of them were true, they'd actually be touching inside the skull and rubbing against each other as they looked around. And it was like, oh, that is a not pleasant thing to think of.
No, thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, the idea of, a horse that the small ones weigh 300 pounds to begin with, flying in the air is absolutely ridiculous. Like to actually get something up that size, like they said in your example, you would have to be absolutely jacked, have wings like 6 times its body length in one direction to begin with. It would have to be the most absolute insane thing that you could make it work. I mean, even think of like the biggest birds that we have, like giant eagles. How much do they weigh? A fair bit, but compared to like little birds, but to get that big or that large, have massive wingspans. I mean, I look at birds that have just a simple, that are able to match my wingspan at like 6 feet. And I'm like, okay, that's a pretty big bird. The next bird up is like, woof, so much wider, so much larger of a wingspan.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Fiara who presents a panel, The Physics of MLP. She actually put forth that humans are carbon-based life forms, but based on their abilities, ponies must be silicon-based.
Thick. I love it.
And, okay, I admit I am not so scientifically minded that I could fully track what she was saying. I'd need to hear it again from her. So everyone, when you see Fiara, please give her my best if you see her before me, and please ask her about silicon-based life forms. Yes.
I love it. The idea and concept that it's like, yeah, no, it's fine. They're carbon-based, right? Probably not.
It's like Fiara knows what's going on. She's tuned in. And she's a great deal smarter than I.
Oh, I believe it.
Oh,
Probably.
I take your pardon.
Well, okay, hold on. All right, sorry. Let me rephrase that.
He done dissed me.
I mean, she is same for me. I believe that yes, she's probably a great deal smarter than I as well. And the way you explain that, if someone decides to take this leap and be like, it's probably this other thing, it's like, oh, okay, you're probably on another level.
But I just love that. Was like the best compliment to Fiara. Diss to me. That was perfect. That deserves full applause. We are proud of you, Mummified. We're proud of you. Now, get out of my stream. How dare you?
I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's all good.
Never again.
Oh, come on. All the time. Look, I will say this again. The mark of when I know that I am truly friends with someone is when I hear those 3 little words. I hate you. I have unique relationships that way.
I thought it was Silver, shut up.
That too. That it carries the same connotations. I'll take it.
Yeah. I'd never say that.
No. Oh, go ahead. Let's see here. Prism Shard would like to know who would win in a fight, John Cena or Drax the Destroyer?
We've had that matchup, I think.
Oh,
we've had that battle. So I think just purely based on, we're taking, the concept of Drax the Destroyer, aka Dave Bautista versus You Can't See Me Cena. I would probably have to say Drax the Destroyer just because, the skills and abilities that come from being a fierce competitive warrior, and the fact that he has mastered the ability of invisibility, and you can't. You can't see him because he's so slow. He's mastered that talent. I just realized something. Anyway, so yeah, no, I'd take Drax the Destroyer, 100%. I'd take that bet.
I too would bet on Drax. I mean, he has traveled the galaxy fighting monsters and beings far more powerful than he or anyone. And no disrespect to John Cena fans, but I believe his triumph was lifting the Undertaker. No small feat, or was it Kane? Either way, he can lift a great deal of weight, but he's not had to compete on anything on the level of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Like, wait, hold on. Actually, Does Drax have hustle, loyalty, and respect? Does he live that word life? I don't think he does. I
Does
might have to change my opinion on this.
you sure? I mean, he's loyal to his adoptive family, the Guardians. So hustle. Okay, he's not great at running. I will say that. I don't see him really running a lot.
I think the jury's out now.
Yeah.
Before I was like, oh yeah, slam dunk, windmill slam, my choice for Drax. But I don't know. Cena, he's a 14-time world champion.
14, he gets.
He is currently at time of recording, tied for the record with Ric Flair, a number of championships inside the WW. Actually, I don't think, are they counting WCW championships in that?
Very possible.
I think they are. But yeah, they're tied at like 14 each.
Oh, man, I've been out of touch with wrestling for a good long time, but I could see Ric Flair interfering just to protect his record.
Woo!
But
Be some great storylines off that. But yeah, anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
actually, well, maybe now I should just poll it. Drax versus John Cena, who would win? But let's see here. We're coming up on 2 hours. We got just a little bit of time left, and we've saved one of the more unique for last. Hitch Trailblazer, who was kind enough to not only come with a transparent background, but his cutie mark. Minus the shield. Shield, huh? And that smile that says, I'm not a DreamWorks protagonist, but I could be. Also slightly thicker eyebrows, understandably.
Well, you got to have something to be able to be like, oh, yes, this is the male character.
Well, let's see here. Actually, I guess that's one of the funny things. In G4, stallions had much squarer muzzles. I don't see that so much in this new generation.
Yeah, there's definitely there's variation between the characters that you can pull off subtle changes between each one, but you can't necessarily. There were small differences between the what am I talking about here? There were small differences that you could make between female characters in the 2D ponies, but now that you have the freedom of a full 3D pony, it actually allows you to be take more uniform but slightly different in facial structures, much in the same way that we as people have different variations in facial structures as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, I find curious his mane and tail being green. Aside from Granny Smith, I can't recall green being a prominent color in the previous series.
I know. So Carrot Top definitely had it for a while. Rarity had hers green for a hot second. There were very few people that actually had green mains and colors. But yeah, I mean, it's possible. I mean, it's not something that they touched on a lot, but definitely allowed the variance to happen whenever it did come through.
Swordbreak 12 reminds us that both Treehugger and Wallflower were also examples of green ponies. Good point.
Perfect. Yeah.
Though I will admit, maybe it's because I watch too much anime. The green hair doesn't shake me quite so much.
Yeah.
And then you got blue hair. You gotta have blue hair.
Yeah. I feel like blue, like you said, with blue hair, it's a lot more commonplace in the society of ponies, so to speak.
Indeed. Now, Hitch, I mean, they say he's a sheriff, so he's got this, Well, a sheriff star, but I noticed his cutie mark is a shield rather than a star. And what looks like a teardrop. What is that? No, that's a heart. I think that's a little heart. And a horseshoe, so. But let's see. I'm not sure what to comment on that hasn't already been remarked upon. I wonder if it's a male characteristic that his chest has a duotone, whereas Sunny's did not.
Yeah. Is it possible that it's just sort of a what would you say, like a trait of people from where Hitch is from? Like it's a thing that sort of he also has a mark on his forehead as well.
Oh yes, another duotone. It's funny, I'm looking right at it, but I missed it. I was dazzled by his toothy smile.
Right under the nose, or should I say on top of the nose.
Exactly. Well done. Another good one.
But yeah, it could be sort of the family trait that comes through sort of a bloodline thing that, it's a yes, this line of family of horses happen to have a dual tone. Maybe when the actual show comes up, maybe we'll find or come across a female character that happens to have these markings as well. Maybe a sister, either younger or older, obviously from Hitch. Maybe a mother.
The mother tradition. Never know.
Mother.
It's a big unknown, but that's a good speculation. Just curious to see what happens. I mean,
all the more to keep an eye out when the actual show presents itself.
I rewatched some trailers and remind myself it's at the end of September, not the start, which at least gives me a little bit more time to make a video. Just a little.
Ooh.
I don't know.
I want it now.
I appreciate that, but I just got one thing yesterday. Even at my best, I can't go that fast. I needs more times. Anywho, let's see. Oh, there was Fanman Third. Where is his sidearm? I weep for the day where ponies need firearms.
Right.
But if they do, I demand Gatlings on either side. None of this hand cannon nonsense.
I would like to imagine that Hitch happens to be a enforcer in a world that they're able to de-escalate problems without the use of firearms in a sort of pre-utopia. I don't know. Maybe there were tons of times where in Gen 4 it was spears and axes and pole arms and pikes and things like that.
And we have seen guard Pegasi, who seem to have a much more or less armor, is what I'm trying to say. Let's see here.
Of course, obviously not to weigh them down and impede their flying ability.
Now, there have been two comments in the chat that I think deserve drawing attention. First is that Hitch does not have much merchandise so far.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Also, who was it who said, please don't be the butt monkey? Yep, magical dude. Please don't be a butt monkey. As someone commented that Komodra Steele predicted that this is Flash Century 2.0. I certainly hope he'll enjoy more characterization and chance to stand out than Flash did. I will say, in terms of Flash-like qualities, Hitch does come across as someone trying very hard to impress. And sometimes not realizing his own strength. Which is why in one of the premieres he accidentally knocks Sunny over. But I also think there was a selfie animated clip today in which Hitch was trying to help Izzy get ready for the photo, even helping her smile by like lifting the corners of her mouth, even as he looked concerned. And so I do get the sense that there's a genuine other-centeredness despite a need to show off.
That he cares more. He puts the looks and betterment of others before himself.
Exactly right. In the end, I think there's more of a noble spirit, but he is going to show off. And one other observation I've had is that in all the still photos where it's the group shot, if the others are all hugging, he's like dancing off on the side a little. And I'm just going to be honest, in a show with a predominantly female cast and you add a guy, there's going to be a different set of rules in place, including how affection is shown.
Right.
So that's my take on it. I'm curious.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Mm-hmm. No. Go ahead.
Well, looking at him now, and I guess just because I've kind of been staring at him for a while, I'm kind of getting the image of an orange. Slightly, well, orange, with a green tint to him. Was someone hungry when they designed this color scheme?
Drawing inspiration from their lunch that day, maybe?
Maybe, hey, you get some orange slices, them's good eating.
Yeah. Yeah, but there are tons of times where you drawing palettes off of things that already exist in the world. There's tons of times where people might be, grabbing, what do you call it? Pictures of real life things, and they just grab colors from those real life images, being able to sort of take naturally occurring scenes and being like, okay, this is a palette that is natural and occurs normally. You don't have to worry about grabbing random colors and adjusting them to make them feel natural. If you're already taking your colors, color picking from real life examples, you're never having to worry about, having a over the top or, eye candy color design.
That makes sense. It's a stray observation, but as Yadil Zabdi Menes points out, I believe that the Orange family, or they're on Applejack. Oh, sorry, it was one post above. Keldo Studies. We need more food, Hasbro, or it could be a sigh, annoying orange reference.
Well, death. I'll die if that happens. If
I
ever get an annoying orange reference or a, what's his name, Ted reference in a pony show, I'll be like, nope, I'm done. Bye, guys. I had fun. I'm out.
And this Mummified has left the building.
Mummified has left life.
Oh, no, don't do that. I know that orange is quite vexing, but it's not that bad.
I was actually just thinking about this the other day. Why haven't we thought of a word to rhyme with orange?
Because everyone keeps trying to force door hinge, but that doesn't work.
Yeah, but like in all of sort of as long as this problem has existed, why is it that we have never just, created a word or amalgamized a word in sort of a portmanteau sort of situation that a rhyme to orange has never just come about with new words or sort of, I don't know, just as words are created, not just, giving old words new meaning, bet in some examples. Why have we not sort of fixed this? Why has, language not evolved enough to find a rhyme with orange,
Maybe folks are just concerned about looking like a tryhard. Like, okay, I know this word that could sound like orange, but that's just it. It looks like I'm trying to make a word that sounds like orange.
Worrying about being a tryhard in the world of academia. What?
I don't know.
Never. Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah, truth be told.
Yeah, just one of those things that you think about on a 2-hour car ride trip. And I was thinking about that last week. I was like, huh, yeah.
Oh, what prompted a 2-hour car ride, if I may ask?
Last weekend, the reason why, for those of you peek behind the curtain, we originally planned for 2 weeks ago, but obviously Silver had other arrangements, and then he was like, "Hey, what about the weekend of the 28th or whatever it was last weekend?" I was like, "Sorry, I can't do that. I'm out of town." I actually flew out to Minneapolis and I drove up to Duluth to hang out with some family for sort of a wedding reception.
Oh, marvelous. Well, again,
Yeah,
I
it was good
appreciate
times.
your flexibility as I threw scheduling into chaos, as is my common trait, it seems.
Yeah, it's fine. Everyone's got their own lives. There was tons of times where on EuroC Sucks we had a bunch of guests, and sometimes we had to reschedule people. Sometimes people fell off. It's a natural thing whenever you're trying to coordinate guests for a fixed time schedule, especially streaming such as this.
Yes. Oh, and we're fast approaching. I try not to demand more time of people. There's not enough time to go over all the characters who have been revealed so far, even second tier. But I do want to draw, again, just as Izzy and Pipp, or Zipp and Pipp, rather, create a contrast. Let's see if I can, let me just crop this down to whom I truly need. I have to assume that this guy, who has a similar sheriff's strap, belt, I'm not sure what to call that, definitely rocking the evil side. I mean, it's mostly that expression that makes me think he will be an antagonist. I don't know why. Is Cutie Marcus a turnip? I don't know what plant that is. This is Sprout, who looks to be sort of well, in many ways, he is the opposite of Hitch, even stylistically, with the color choices. And by gosh, I have not seen eyebrows that thick since Fooly Cooley. Anybody out there remember Fooly Cooley?
Takun.
There we go.
Oh, such good times. My first experience with Fooly Cooley was a AMV back on AMV.org. Pre-YouTube days, young whippersnappers. It was Deep Purple's Highway Star set to Fooly Cooley, and it was some award-winning AMV back in the day. And I just cannot hear Highway Star without... No, not Highway Star. Was it Highway Star? Oh shoot! Now I'm double guessing myself. Anyway, I'm just going to assume that it is. No, it's Deep Purple though. Anyway, I can't think Fooly Cooley without remembering that AMV. It was so good.
Yeah, I've seen some AMVs that change my perspective on. If you ever guys get to see an AMV based on with the spirit, the spirit never dies. Just do a search for AMV Spirit Never Dies. I can't imagine how much time it took to key all those characters together, but it's quite stunning. So, but
and the way that so much of AMV art and styling can come up and change over the years, or the level that it's all grown to, I'm just like, oh my god, it's insane.
And let's see. Well, with that, I think we've covered at least a good initial set of impressions for the new 5. Maybe there'll be a 6 down the road, as someone made a point of Power Rangers when it first started. 5 teens with attitude grew to 6. Then shrank back to 5. Then it was 6 again. But I'm looking forward to seeing how these characters interact and express themselves, because that's going to be the real test. These images are great. I could speculate, and Tony, I'm so grateful for your insight and for that of everyone in the chat.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I definitely haven't been, as on it with taking in the announcements and everything, or following this as deeply, but taking my own cursory glances at these things, and then being able to take a much more analytical approach to these things, inferring about these characters and seeing your perspective on it has actually sort of opened my eyes and sort of made me a little bit more curious. I wonder what may the future hold for said ponies.
So I pulled the Tempest Shadow. Open up your eyes and get the Woogly Eye version.
Aye.
Woogly Eyes.
Yes. Oh man. Good times.
But now I think, as we've approached the closing hour, I think we should end as we began. Let's see here, gosh darn, someone in the chat, I am scrolling feverishly to try and find it. Excuse me. Asked, you mentioned you were a fan of Necrons. Here we are. The Inquisitor, 751. Back in the beginning, how did you get into Warhammer 40k, and do you have a 40k army or not?
Oh, do I have an army? Do I have an army? Boy, howdy. Let me tell you about that. So I got into 40k. I was a Magic the Gathering player for a long time, back in sort of mid 90s, and then again in like late 2000s. I was into Magic, and because I was always frequenting game stores, it was sort of one of those things that were just in like a cursory knowledge and sort of existed outside of my realm of knowledge. I was like, yeah, whatever, this is another hobby. This is something that another set of big nerds are into. Whatever, fine, that's their world. I'm just with Magic. Okay, cool. But then I have a buddy who happens to be like super into toys and figures, and my circle of friends are also nothing but a bunch of big nerds. So it's like, okay, well, they sort of decided one day that it was like, okay, one friend was like, I'm gonna start, getting into building these miniatures and whatnot. And then another friend was like, oh yeah, I've got some of those from like forever ago. I should probably pull them out and figure out what's the new rule set or whatever. And then sort of two friends became three friends. And then eventually it was like, hey, Tony. And I'm like, ugh, all right, I guess I'll pick an army. And they're all like, ooh, who are you going to play? Who are you going to play? And I was like, I don't know. I can't really figure this out. And for the longest time, I didn't tell them what I was going to play until I was ready to play with them. And I sort of like held on to it for a while as a secret. And I was going through D6 Wiki or something, one of these Wikipedia pages, talking about how, what's going on with these armies, what it's like to play these things. And I saw that there was a game tactic in Necrons where it was like, oh yeah, they come back and they sort of, your army is really hard to kill off. And I'm like, yes, I get to be annoying with my army. Cool. That sounds like fun. And then they also talked about how it was like, okay, Necrons are a little bit like medium to long range attacks as well, and they're very bad at melee. And I'm like, great, one mechanic that I don't have to necessarily stress about getting into. And then it's like, also they can't use psychic phases, and I'm like, great, another mechanic I don't have to worry about getting into. So it was like, great, they shoot long range, they come back at the end of the term, let's get it. And so I was like, all right, let's build some Necrons. And currently right now, I've got, it's impossible to list off everything that I have, but I've got like 2 trays of battle foam, large, that are filled with infantry units. I've got 4 ghost arcs. No, I've got 3 ghost arcs, 1 ghost, a doomsday arc or whatever. It's one model. It can go 2 different ways. I've got a monolith. I've got a couple of wraiths, a strider, annihilation barge, just a whole heap and load of Necrons and whatnot that I have available. That I'm like, all right, great. You need X amount of an army or X point value or X power that you want me to come at you with next weekend. All right, I'm there. I'm in. And it's a good 90% of it is actually fully painted too. So I'm like, all right, sweet.
Ma foi. Also, you are a man after my own heart when you look at a Titanic war and you ask, how can I be the most annoying?
It was like, yeah, I mean, okay, they have 1 hit point. Okay, that sucks. But on a 5 up at the very end, 5 up on a D6, it's like, okay, now you just get to bring this many of them back at the end of the life. And then on their transports, they also repair and bring them back up. So I'm like, oh, great, double healing. And I'm like, okay, how can I put this forward? And then it was like, okay, these leader characters give you +1 to your rolls on the reanimation protocol. And I was like, oh, sick. Let me buy one of each. And then it's great. I'll have one army pushing forward. Then it's like, great. You knocked out 8 out of the 9 models in this unit, this squad. Great. My turn. Roll. Oh, they're all coming back. Boom. Death. Dying. Swing in with 20 shots and just demolish whoever's trying to get at me. I love it. Such a good game. Highly recommend it. Very expensive barrier to entry, but if you have the means, I highly recommend it. It is so choice.
Well, I've collected some of the codexes to read up on this, and I agree with you that the lore can seem impenetrable. But, oh yes, I do have the Necrons codex. I was curious.
Yeah. I really like... So I didn't get to play a lot of 8th edition, and then I had that codex, and I was like, okay, 9th edition comes around, gotta buy the codex again. And then it's like, oh, by the way, here's some new art. And I'm like, ooh, art. I love the art in the codex books. They're so great.
Oh yeah, the artwork of Warhammer, especially when you compare how it was just a decade ago.
Oh my God, yeah. I have an old box that I bought off an eBay listing of a bunch of warriors that someone was selling off. And it was the old, not the like super old, like super scary ones, but it was I can't even begin to describe it. It's a Necron leader lord dude with a giant scythe, and he's got a cape flying on top of this hill of skulls, I think. And I'm just like, this is the best. I love this aesthetic. It's like wizard on the side of a van kind of art, and I'm just like, yes, let's go.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, so if there's any takeaway on the story, is that making friends opens new possibilities, including getting to check out really cool games.
For sure.
Now,
I highly recommend if you...
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you highly recommend?
I highly recommend checking out your local game store, taking a look at the start here boxes, and really just look for any army that like just kind of speaks to you. You don't have to necessarily worry about, flavor or tactics or whatever. Just, if there's an army that's like, these dudes look cool, great. Pick up that box and just go for it.
Excellent. Now, Fanmade Third says you should have gone with Dark Angels. Your soul would still be intact. Tis Pshaw, I say. Salamander for life, baby.
Yeah. My buddy, I have a buddy that I play regularly with who is Space Wolves. I have another buddy who is Tyranids. He has a massive Tyranid collection. He loves his bugs. And then another buddy of mine who has Tau and is also building a Drakari, whatever the 2 Eldar combined force is.
I don't know if I can do the Emperor, but... I hate the Dark Eldar so much. And are the
Yeah.
Tau even worth mentioning? They're not. So now
For the greater good.
I've got to go now seek out if the Emperor text-to-speech really is cease and desist. And,
Rip. Say love you.
well, I will do the best. And Ender, I will see Hamilton and I will see The Good Place, but not immediately after finish the stream. I needs me some dinner. And
for sure. I think I might do the same thing, grab a bite to eat or something filled with cheese. I can feel it calling me.
All right, then we have a plan and a commitment. Let's all get a little cheesy. But in the meantime, everyone, I thank you for something a little different. I enjoyed getting to go over each of these characters and hearing all of your thoughts. And Mummified, very grateful for your flexibility and your insight. And it's great just to catch up with you.
Yeah, anytime. It always bothers me. Well, it doesn't bother me, but it's sad that we have this camaraderie that we're able to do, and I always feel like it's like, oh yeah, hey, there's Silver. And it's like, oh hey, Mummified, what's going on? And it's like, oh man, super busy. Same, super busy here, and we just never have time to like connect in person at cons, and we definitely have to put a moment together where we can like grab a beer or something.
I would enjoy that very much. Any chance you're going to be at Everfree?
Nothing planned for this year. I am sort of still playing it safe for mass gatherings in the year of 2021. Maybe Everfree 2022.
I appreciate your thinking. I'm taking a bit of a role because I want to see people and get this going, but I totally understand everyone needs to act within their conscience and comfort. And
of course. I'm not saying that anybody should feel bad about it either. If you're in a place where you feel like you can go out and be open and be around people, fantastic. I'm happy for you. It's just, for me, I'm gonna hang back and stay home for a little bit longer.
Yeah, a good plan. And I'm vaccinated, which gives me more confidence. So,
whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop. With that, everyone, I will wish you all a wonderful evening and a wonderful weekend. July is on its way out. Let's greet August, and hopefully it'll be a good month for everybody. So be safe and be well. I'm Silver-Quill. Thanks for watching.